Hello, everybody. Thank you for your patience in waiting for us to start the virtual conference today, the Skin-spiration party. We again wanted to give ample time for everybody to get logged in to join us today. We have a jam-packed agenda for you, but before I talk about that, I want to, on behalf of the SkinHealth Canada team, say hello, a warm welcome as we enter in, or actually we're already in Q4 of 2021, and it's hard to believe 2022 is just weeks away. So without further ado, let's talk about our amazing agenda today. We are going to talk about Bend Beauty, and we have a very special guest speaker who's going to be joining us soon, founder of Bend Beauty, Marc St Onge. We're then going to talk about Environ's newest generation of the electrosonic Ionzyme machine, the DF3, and we're going to talk about all the amazing treatments that can be offered with Environ and the DF. And we have another amazing guest, Nikki, who's going to share her transformation with medical needling paired with the DF machine. And then we're going to talk about Forlle'd and the power of platinum. So we have a jam-packed agenda. We have giveaways throughout. And I know a lot of you have been waiting to hear about the grand prize, which is our DF mobile and our festive set, the micro needling Serenity set. That comes at the end of the conference. And we're going to have some really amazing activities for you to do along the way in order to be eligible for that. So get inspired. If you don't already have a Java, a good cup of coffee, or a tall glass of water, you may want to grab one really quick, and we are ready to fly. So without further ado, I'm going to take a moment to introduce our very special first guest, Marc St Onge. Again, he is the founder of Bend Beauty, Canadian company, Canadian born, out of Halifax, Nova Scotia, something to be proud of. And for those of you who don't know anything about Bend Beauty, it's all about ingestible skincare. But I'm going to leave it to Marc to tell you the story of Bend, because he'll do it much better than I can. So Marc is a Halifax-based entrepreneur and investor leading global platforms for the development of evidence-based nutraceuticals, food sustainability, and decentralized healthcare. He believes that to safeguard future generations, we need an immediate shift to a transformative economy centered around environmental sustainability and the collective well-being of our global community. Bend Beauty is at the convergence of health and beauty, pioneering evidence-based nutraceuticals, targeting skin health, UV protection, and longevity, because we know skin is for life. With a unique focus on sustainable marine ingredients, Bend Beauty has been recognized as one of the companies changing the beauty industry today. So without further ado, we are going to turn the platform over to Marc St Onge. He has a presentation to share with you. And if you can hold off on your questions for about 30 to 40 minutes, we will open up the platform at the end for question and answers, and of course, a Bend giveaway. So welcome, Marc. I'm going to get Yanni to launch you into this conference today.
So, yeah, wonderful to have so many, participants on this panel. I'm really excited to be here to share a little bit of my story, the Bend Beauty story. In fact, I just got back from Manhattan. I was attending the Women's Wear Daily CEO Summit. So this is the annual event where a lot of the movers and shakers of the beauty industry kind of congregate to see what's happening in the industry, what are the trends, what's happening next. And I'm excited to say that one of the big buzzes in this year's CEO Summit was ingestibles. Yes, and so of course, innovation is always happening all the time in this really exciting industry. But one of the next really exciting opportunities that I think we're here all to kind of learn about, because it is important. It's important for your business. It's also important to really elevating the results that you can provide for your valued clients. So I'm going to start sharing my presentation. Yes. So first of all, you may be wondering, where does the name Bend Beauty come from? And Bend is really about the concept of transformation. In fact, we say we're bending the path, and yes, we're bending it to really build a broader scope of how we can treat and nourish beautiful skin, but also the sustainable way to do that. Of course, in today's in today's world, we cannot talk about anything in the world without also talking about sustainability. And I just want to maybe get a confirmation. Okay, just hold on a second. Being asked to turn my video on, but the permissions are not kind of granted. So maybe you can do it on your end, Heather. If not, I'll just continue on as long as everyone can see the presentation. So Bend really starts with this kind of philosophical underpinning. You know, it's when you nourish all the connections, something beautiful happens. And that really kind of governs everything we do, how we operate as a company, how we develop products. And we think about how, you know, how the body is so interconnected that, you know, in the traditional view, we always kind of, oh, there, it looks like I can get my video on now. No, still not. Okay, sorry. In the traditional view, we'd always see kind of the body in kind of isolated, you know, parts. And still in most medical practices today, you know, we have specialists, and those specialists look at one organ or organ system and they kind of ignore the rest. I think the same can be said about in the past, how we saw the skin as kind of like something separate from the rest of the body. But now, based on the latest research, of course, you know, we're evolving that story. And the exciting thing is what we can do is we can create more beauty, we can create better results by targeting the skin from the inside as well as the outside. So our purpose as a company is really to elevate beauty and skin health supplements. You know, we want you to view these as the foundational element for skin health and longevity. And we know this industry is going through this convergence. It's not just about skincare, that when we have the privilege of treating someone with their skin, we also have the responsibility to talk about the inside out, right? Someone's wellness. So, you know, spa, med spa, you know, and aesthetics are more and more kind of encompassing this idea of we're also a wellness destination. And so Bend Beauty, we've been working in this space for over 10 years now, starting with some really pioneering research. We've always started with the focus that we need to build trust by creating the science, the evidence that's going to support the claim. So we can stand behind everything that we're actually you know, claiming associated with our products. And that encompasses both clinical as well as preclinical research. So a lot of nutraceutical companies, they don't do any research whatsoever. It's not a requirement to be able to develop and bring to market a product, a nutraceutical product, that you need to have to do all this research. But our approach is always, you know, we need to provide the evidence, and we're actually really pioneering some new areas that were really kind of undiscovered from a scientific perspective. And these relate to your industry, this talking about novel things like UV protection and how do we actually reduce the aging process or enhance rejuvenation in the skin. So we need to do the research to really support that. And ultimately, what we really believe is that it's not topicals versus ingestibles whatsoever, two sides to the same coin. And that when we can synergize the best of the topical world and treatments along with ingestibles, we can deliver this concept of best care for our clients. And so as I talked about already, like there has been for a while this convergence happening. And when I was at the Women's Wear Daily CEO Beauty Summit, once again, this for the first time was really kind of front and center. Like some of the biggest beauty brands in the world are now really paying attention that this is not just going to be a niche trend. This is a mega trend that's going to really carry a lot of the growth forward for this industry. So we're here to not just provide you with the products, but also the education to keep you ahead of the curve. And so for education, you know, it's the foundation of the professional beauty industry. And, you know, we've been able to kind of develop a lot of really great educational tools to make it really easy for you to understand the basics, as well as the particular science that's really driving some of these products forward and how you can use them effectively into your practice. And so I mean, I'm a science junkie. I've been involved in kind of clinical and preclinical research for a very long time. And it's a really, really exciting space right now. We have a lot of new research tools that allow us to really understand the body and understand the skin in ways that we didn't actually have access to in the past. And so that's leading to all kinds of new opportunities, and as well as new claims that we can kind of associate with these products. And these new claims have relevance for this industry, very much so. So things like skin rejuvenation, skin longevity, UV protection is no longer just a conversation about topicals. It's about also the inside out, roughness and redness, and of course all sorts of chronic skin inflammatory conditions like eczema. So how we kind of encapsulate this whole idea that what happens in the body will manifest in the skin in some capacity, both in terms of negative factors as well as positive factors like rejuvenation. So we call this the skin climate. And simply put, we call the skin climate the body's internal environment, which governs the breakdown, repair, and overall health and longevity of the skin. So once again, this is a really, really key concept. It becomes that foundational element. It's like we build from this place along with all these, extremely, effective, topical products and treatments. So diving in a little bit more into the concept of skin climate, well, it really is the result of age-related increases in a concept called chronic inflammation. Right now, all of us are experiencing some form of age-related chronic inflammation. So chronic versus acute inflammation. Chronic is, when we have acute inflammation, our body really makes that evident, right? We have redness and swelling and pain and edema. And so this is the body really trying to protect us from something or heal something very quickly. Chronic inflammation, especially the age-related chronic inflammation, there really is no known cause. We don't know why the body is promoting these inflammatory compounds in the body. And it seems to, very predictably increase as we get older. So someone in their 60s has more chronic inflammation than someone in their 50s, which has more than someone in their 40s and 30s and 20s, etc. So some people call it silent inflammation. Nevertheless, it's very, very important for us to kind of talk about this because it is such an underpinning of why our skin ages and how we sometimes lose the properties in our skin that we want to hold on to as long as possible. And the other side of that is also free radical stress. So, they work really hand in hand to cause, degeneration and breakdown of, the all facets of our body, but including our skin. Certainly there are, aside from aging, there are lifestyle and dietary factors that can amplify the level of chronic inflammation and free radical stress, right? So diet, stress, lifestyle. Pollution is a big one, including UV exposure. That's not a new thing for anyone here, but UV exposure does have the impact of accelerating age-related chronic inflammation. So the concept of inflammation has been so well studied now today that researchers have actually coined a new term, and you see this term being used in published medical papers. It's called inflammaging. And this is the concept whereas, we know that the underlying cause of aging is due to inflammation. So using the concept of skin climate and all the research and development that we've done, we're actually developing a product line that really helps you to unlock your skin's true potential. And by doing that, we're modulating or we're optimizing your internal climate, moving it away from breakdown and repair and more into the, away from breakdown and more into rejuvenation and repair. So there's been existing research that shows when you can have a positive impact on these concepts of chronic inflammation and free radical stress, the body has a natural ability to restore the rejuvenation potential. So this is really important because the more we can actually optimize the skin climate, the more we're actually going to see a reversal of those age-related kind of signs in our skin. We have today on the market two primary product lines. One is called Renewal Protect. That is our foundational product. That is the real kind of the heavy hitter in our lineup that we built. We actually conducted some very, very novel research, which we will get into, and has the biggest kind of rejuvenating effect on the skin. But we also do complement that with a really effective product that's really targeted at building and boosting the collagen levels. So certainly, there's different ways that we can actually stimulate collagen production. There are some aesthetic procedures that we can do, that, are, once again, it's not this versus that, but, if we can actually optimize and restore collagen production through supplementation of products like our marine collagen plus cofactors, everything else is just going to work a lot better. So if you want your topical products and services to work a lot better, these are the products that you want to start as that foundation. So Renewal Protect actually is a bit of a groundbreaking product in Canada. It was the first to ever get approval from Health Canada for skincare anti-aging as well as UV protection. And so the official claims are that it does help increase skin resistance to UV-induced sunburn. It helps to improve skin hydration, helps improve skin elasticity and firmness. It helps improve roughness and redness, which is associated with skin inflammation. In fact, the product is approved in Canada to treat the symptoms of eczema. As well, it is a great source of just overall kind of antioxidants that are specific to skin health. So how did we get such powerful claims? Well, for the UV claim, we actually had to conduct a clinical trial. And so this clinical trial, in many ways, was very similar to how topical sunscreens are tested. Whereas subjects come in, they have very controlled UV lamps that they shine onto the skin, and they look at how much UV radiation is required to create a sunburn in the arm that's not treated versus the arm that's treated. So that's typically how a normal sunscreen is tested. Now, nutrition, you don't get that instantaneous effect. Nutrition has to build up over time. And so therefore, you have to run a trial much longer. You have to have multiple time points while the person is ingesting the product. And so we made a decision that, well, to really convince people that this product is going to be essential for their overall kind of UV, care, skin care, we need to show that there's going to be benefit at least within a 2-month period. It actually takes closer to 4 months to get the full saturation of these active ingredients into the skin. But once again, we really believe in the efficacy of this product, the way it was formulated, and we wanted to show a significant clinical benefit in a much shorter period of time. So they tested all the subjects at baseline, so prior to them taking Renew and Protect, and say, okay, this is the amount of radiation it takes to create a sunburn. Then they started taking the Renew and Protect product. They came in at a 4-week time point. So they've been taking this now for approximately 1 month, and they do the same exercise. They see how much radiation does it take to cause a sunburn. And so now it took 39% more radiation, UV radiation, to create that burn. And then they came back at the final time point, which was 8 weeks later, and it took 84% more radiation, UV radiation, to create that burn effect. So that's really a remarkable outcome, because there have been a few studies that have tried to assess nutraceuticals for this benefit. And these studies have been published. There's not a lot of them, but there are some. Typically, they're achieving results around 10 to up to 25%. That's really the best that we've seen. And so, and they've run for at least 8 weeks or longer. So we've actually at 8 weeks all the way up to 84% And even the clinical research group that we hired to kind of carry out this study was really astounded. They were really surprised by the magnitude of effect that you can get in terms of UV resilience through delivery of a nutraceutical product. So really good outcome. We published this in a respected dermatological paper. But we weren't done yet, because we wanted to kind of look below the surface, say, okay, this works really good at protecting the skin against UV burning and damage. Well, let's really see how is it working. And so we actually did what we call a cellular study. So we actually use actual human skin cells, but now we're looking at them on an individual level, and we're subjecting them to very controlled conditions. And of course, because these are human skin cells, that we can actually now look inside the cell. We can look at things like genetics. We can look at certain cellular pathways that are activated. And so what we are specifically looking with this cellular study was, what impact does UV exposure have on the inflammatory response, free radical generation, and overall skin cell viability? And this was once again using cells that are treated with Renew and Protect. And so this was a 2-year research study, and it was published in a journal called Natural Products Research. And so, two of the primary outcomes, from this study is that Renew and Protect protects human skin cells against both UVA and UVB induced damage, right? And so when we think about sunscreens, a lot of sunscreens, the SPF factor is just a measure of UVA protection. So we want to make sure that we're really encompassing both UVA as well as UVB protection. So as well, Renew and Protect significantly increased cellular antioxidant activity and decreased inflammatory pathways. So this is exactly what we want, not just for skin health, but health in general, because now the cells that were subjected to Renew and Protect were able to enhance their own endogenous antioxidant activity. And so the cell had an amplified protection, a natural protection mechanism, and that was also connected to modulation of the inflammatory pathway. So we said chronic inflammation is a major driver of cellular breakdown. So our skin is aging because of chronic inflammation. So anything that we can do to reduce inflammation is going to be a positive outcome. And so once again, we wanted to measure inflammation. We saw that there was a very dramatic decrease in the inflammatory response. And so once again, preserving cell viability. You can see this a little bit more closely in these microscopic slides. And to explain this kind of in a simple way, these dermal fibroblasts, so these collagen producing cells, are stained green. And these types of cells are kind of more long, spindly cells. They don't look like a lot of other cells in our body, which are more kind of round. On the top row, we see cells that are not they were not fed Renew and Protect. And the bottom ones were fed Renew and Protect. And so the first column on the left is where they have no UV exposure. So this is what the healthy fibroblasts look like, right? Now in the middle, we see cells that were treated with UVA, and we see dramatic difference, which is very similar to the UVB group. And so I can summarize this to say, when you see the red staining, that means that the cell, first of all, visually, you can see the cells have just been kind of almost like exploded, right? So the cells went through so much stress and damage that they kind of exploded. And the red dots is the genetic material inside the cell. So all the cells of our body are working so hard to protect the genetic material. Why? Because if there's a damage to our genes, that will predispose us to things like cancer. And therefore the cell will really sacrifice itself to protect against DNA damage. But here we saw in the cells that were not treated with Renew and Protect, we see those red dots showing up. And this means, once again, there was a significant amount of damage to the genetic material. So now we're moving on to the next products, marine collagen plus cofactors. So this is kind of more the booster product. So we had the foundation product, now we have the booster product, and it is really targeted and helping to build really healthy collagen. We don't just want to stimulate collagen production. We want that collagen to be really, really strong, really well formed, because we want that collagen to be able to resist, damage in the future. And so the claims that we have associated are, of course, helps in collagen formation, helps to maintain healthy skin, hair, and nails. And also, once again, a source of antioxidants that will protect against free radicals. It also helps in wound healing. And these are approved by Health Canada as well. And so what are the three main constituents? Well, we have hydrolyzed fish collagen. So fish collagen is being viewed as a preferred source of collagen. Yes, there's the sustainability aspect, which is really important to consider in all decision making, but we find it's the closest kind of composition to human skin in terms of, type 1 versus type 3 collagen. And if you're, curious, how does it really work that when we ingest collagen, that it actually helps to produce collagen? Well, old thinking was that when we ingested collagen, it provides the building blocks to produce more collagen. That actually turns out to not be the story at all, because the latest research have shown that when we hydrolyze the collagen from the fish skin, we're creating these very, very small, we call peptides. Peptides are made of amino acids. And when we chop it up really, really small, we have these really small fragments of sometimes just 2 amino acids together. So when we ingest the hydrolyzed collagen, what happens, certain peptides that have a sequence of amino acids, not all of them, but very particular ones, when they can be absorbed into our circulation, and they travel around the body, and then they come in contact with the fibroblasts, the cells that produce collagen. And what happens is that this amino acid sequence connects to what we call a receptor site on the fibroblast cells, and it triggers a reaction. That reaction is really more like sending information to the cell, says, I would like you to produce more collagen, right? Because as we get older, collagen production is slowing down. It starts as early as our 20s, reducing 1% per year. So there's a huge difference in terms of collagen, the rate of collagen production in someone that's 20 versus someone that's 80 years old. Well, what we can do is we can restore some of that lost signal by ingesting hydrolyzed collagen, to send that information to the collagen producing cells to simply say, produce more collagen, please. And so we want to combine that with vitamin C and silicon, both from whole food sources, because these are the two most important cofactors that support the collagen, production and make that collagen really healthy and strong. It's a process we call cross-linking. So collagen is actually these really long kind of fibers, these peptides made up of all these unique amino acid sequences. And much like the way that a rope is made, they start to interlink into a helix, a 3-dimensional helix. And then there's these cross-linking formation that keeps those fibers really tightly, wound together. So it's either kind of like a loosely wound rope versus a very tightly wound rope. And so this is what contributes to the building of the really, really healthy collagen that's going to be able to resist damage down the road. So once again, we're moving on past the product right now, but we want to talk about something that's so near and dear to me, is sustainability. I think, look, there's no secret anymore. We have an environmental crisis. We have a climate crisis. All of us have a part to play. And at Ben Beauty, we want to position ourselves as a leader in this kind of sustainable beauty movement in our industry. And so we want to talk to you about some of the things that we are doing. And we want to do that in a way that, once again, aligned with our core values of being very transparent. We know there's still a lot of greenwashing out there in the world. And so the more that we can present what we're doing, the data, what are our results, and what is the gap in terms of where we have to get to, that is, we believe that is a sign of real, true leadership. And so the first important goal for us is rapid decarbonization. So the world is racing towards, achieving these particular reduction targets that were, initially set out in Paris and now recently in Glasgow. So there's too much CO2 being emitted into the atmosphere. So the faster that we can get to carbon neutral, the better. And so what Ben Beauty has done is we've made a commitment, a public commitment to become a carbon neutral company by 2025. And in this year, we actually achieved, we're actually very, very close. We're actually far ahead of our target, and all of our products now are carbon neutral. All of our facilities, our head office, as well as our research facilities are all powered by renewable. That's been since day one. So there's only very, very small residual carbon impact left, within our business. And so we are able to calculate precisely what is that residual impact or that residual carbon that needs to be offset. And so, the first goal is reduce your carbon footprint as much as possible. And then whatever's left over, you can actually go and buy offsets. And so what we do with offsets is we're going out and we're investing in certain offset projects out there in the world. And we picked several really credible tree planting offsets that make sure that whatever residual carbon we're still emitting into the world, that's being pulled out of the atmosphere, from the increase in the tree planting that's happening. We also believe that it's important to have a very, what we call responsible supply chain. And so we take a very examined approach at our whole end-to-end supply chain and looking at how we can make kind of better choices, not just environmentally, but also socially as well. And so we've developed a whole set of policies and procedures that we have to follow if we're, either ordering new supplies for the office, or if we're designing new products that are going to have ingredients that may come from different parts of the world, that we're actually adhering to a very strict policy that says how we can make decisions so that it's always benefiting, both the social and environmental, impact from those choices. And last but not least, there's only so much that we can do, as a corporate citizen of this world, and we're trying to be as progressive as possible. But we do know that, this climate movement is really driven by the frontline activism of these environmental not-for-profits. So it's important for us then to say, okay, through our, corporate activities, we're going to actually support this essential work, the people that are down in the trenches and helping to drive a lot of the policy change that's really necessary right now. So we joined a group called 1% for the Planet, which means that we donate 1% of our annual sales to approved environmental groups. And so those environmental groups that we've been donating to for many years now, the David Suzuki Foundation, Environmental Defense, Ecology Action Center, and then Nova Scotia Nature Trust. So these groups that, we really researched and felt they're having a significant amount of impact from the work that they do. And the work spans anything from public awareness, to helping to create, policy change, to land conservation. Just sometimes, purchasing and preserving very, very sensitive ecosystems is one of the best ways that we can actually offset some of the destructive aspects of our human activities. So now flipping back into product, but this is kind of looking at what's next. We're excited to say that we have a new product called Reset, which is really focusing on what we call the liver-skin axis. So like I said, the skin climate system that we developed really has identified all the major pathways in the body that have significant impact in terms of the appearance, the health, and also the aging or longevity of our skin. And so we cannot ignore, especially in today's very toxic world, escape the connection between our liver and our skin. So we want really good, healthy, glowing skin. We need to have a really healthy and glowing liver. So this particular product helps support liver function, which is essential in the detoxification process. It also, once again, source of great antioxidants that are going to help reduce free radical stress. And these ingredients also traditionally have been used in herbal medicine to relieve digestive disturbances. So, there's who doesn't really have some digestive disturbances every once in a while. I know I do. So I'm really excited to be able to incorporate this product into my daily, regimen. So, here's a little bit of information, just kind of validating that there's research to show there's a really, really tight connection within this kind of liver skin axis, and how does that really show up? Well, it can show up as things like dermatitis, eczema, premature aging, brown liver spots, red itchy rashes. So, lots of inflammation can show up, hives, psoriasis, acne, etc. A lot of these have an underpinning in terms of the health and function of our liver. And so the ingredients that comprise this, so we have two ingredients, milk thistle extract, as well as a broccoli sprout powder. So for milk thistle extract, which has really been heavily studied for many, many decades, we've chosen an organic source because, this product is intended to detoxify the body, but a lot of herbs today that we use that you might pick up at your health food store or pharmacy, et cetera, are heavily sprayed. That's just the nature of the world. These plants are grown very intensively and require, herbicides and pesticides. We want to make sure that for this product in particular, that we chose an organic milk thistle. And this is also a very concentrated extract, kind of a 50-to-1 concentration of the active ingredient. That active ingredient is called silymarin, right? And so you can see all the, the beneficial properties in terms of promoting detoxification activities in our skin, in our liver that, help to rejuvenate the liver, as well as, have that benefit that we're looking for in the skin. Then we have broccoli sprout powder. So broccoli sprouts, everyone knows they're really, really healthy for us, but there is an active ingredient that is created. As soon as we start kind of chomping down on broccoli or broccoli sprouts, there's a chemical reaction that's happening and it's producing a new compound we call sulforaphane. And sulforaphane is one of the most exciting, new areas of kind of, liver and detoxification research. It helps the body to really amplify its natural detoxification properties. So once again, just like kind of collagen production, those detoxification pathways become less efficient as we get older. So we're really here to kind of help to support and reboost we're almost kind of resetting the clock, so to speak here, and giving you the ability to efficiently remove toxins from the body. And when we look towards 2022, we have a lot of really exciting things happening, including two new products. One is called Gut Glow. So we just talked about the liver skin axis. Now we're going to talk about the gut skin axis, because absolutely what happens in the gut is going to show up in our skin. And a lot of people have had firsthand experience with that. If you're someone that suffers from, like IBS, Crohn's, colitis, irritable bowel, you may see also that you have a tendency towards more inflammation, more sensitive skin. And that really cannot be resolved until you resolve the underlying kind of inflammation that's happening in your gastrointestinal tract. And then the second product we're going to be launching is called Resilience. And this is really something that, the concept of resilience has been talked about a lot during the pandemic because it's challenged us emotionally, psychologically, as well as, physically. How we show up in the world, how we feel comfortable in our own skin, how do we not get overwhelmed with all the change that's happening around us, all these new circumstances. It's been one of the most stressful times, in recorded history. And so, what we're really doing here is providing that nutraceutical support to help maintain your body's capacity to absorb stress, while still kind of having good physiological function and staying very, very grounded and centered, right? So it's increasing that bandwidth by which we can naturally support dealing with kind of very stressful situations. And so, you know, if you want to really kind of focus on, you know, the emotional skin axis, is, you know, which is actually a new field of research we call psychodermatology, then we really have to think about, you know, how are we managing our own emotions? How are we processing information? You know, a lot of stress is just simply unprocessed information. So we need to be able to better metabolize the things that are causing our body to go into more of a stress state, this fight or flight response, which kind of dries up, you know, our corticosteroid production. And that, once again, is just breaking down the fabric of our skin. So good skin, glowing skin, we need to have that inner emotional glow that has been kind of elusive to a lot of us over the last couple of years. So it looks like that's about everything. I know we probably are close to time anyways, but if we want to kind of launch into any kind of a Q&A, I'm happy to go deeper in anything or answer any questions that you may have.
Marc, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Perfect. I'm going to open up the platform and check in Zoom for some questions from our audience today. But before we do that, I just wanted to thank you for such an inspiring presentation. Working in the industry for over 25 years, I'm a firm believer in really looking at our lifestyle and our internal health to optimize what we see on the outside, which is our skin and also our biggest organ. So, all right, I'm just going to wait for my colleague Yoni to give me the platform of questions. Bear with me. Bend.
Yeah, so well, if we talk about that from a research perspective, the initial research started in 2009, right? And so, you know, this was born out of my previous company, which was, you know, a leading kind of brand of omega-3 supplements. And the omega-3 category was really maturing. And there was a lot of kind of, the primary use cases for omega-3 supplementation were heart health, joint health, brain health. So as the category matured and we had all this scientific and research capabilities, we said, okay, what is next? What else? What other functions or organ systems in the body can be modulated in a positive way through supplementation of essential fatty acids? So we eventually realized that skin was something that was dramatically improved through essential fatty acids. And then we spent the next 6 years kind of looking at other ingredients outside of omega-3s that also had a measurable impact on skin health. And so these things took a lot of time, you know, putting these ingredients together to determine the stability of the product, and then doing the clinical trials and product registration in Canada. So all the way, you know, from 2009, we launched the Ben Beauty brand actually in 2016.
Yeah, it all takes time. I know the efficacy and safety of the product is very important. And I believe Ben Beauty is registered with Health Canada. All right, we're ready for question number 2. I have a severe allergy to fish and seafood. Would it create a reaction to the collagen?
Yes, it very much could. I would, if you have a sensitivity or especially if you have a overt allergy to seafood, unfortunately, these products are not for you. So I would err on the side of caution.
Perfect. Question number 3. Is there an age limit or restriction on any of the Bend products?
Currently, they're approved by Health Canada for ages 19 and above. We're looking to work with Health Canada to get that expanded to 14 and above, but that's something the team is working on right now. So we're gathering up all the safety information to resubmit to Canada, Health Canada, to hopefully get that adjusted.
And just a second follow-up to that question, how long would that take for approval?
During the pandemic, a lot of Health Canada's resources got redeployed. So normally what would take kind of 6 months can take up to 12 months. So it is a long process, and it's pretty unpredictable right now.
Perfect. Compliance and regulation, right? It always takes time. This comes from an esthetician who is truly excited, but struggles telling people what to use, especially as we move into guts and liver products. How is Ben going to carry on education for Canadian estheticians in an unregulated industry?
Well, so the natural products industry is very regulated. Products cannot really go to market until they've gone through a complete review by Health Canada. And so the reset products that we just talked about in the presentation, took approximately, I'd say around 18 months to get approved by Health Canada. So the good thing in Canada is like the claims that are on the label, you can really trust those. They've been reviewed for safety and efficacy. But we also know there's a huge, when we kind of really looked into the trends of this industry, it wasn't just about saying, hey, look, ingestibles are this next big wave, but there's an education gap because a lot of estheticians and skincare professionals, when they took all their skill training in school, this was never part of the curriculum, right? So we need, as an industry leader, we're stepping up. We're building that online platform. We call it our learning management system. We have everything to do with the products, the claims, the science, how to use them, as well as giving you an idea like what the regulations in Canada really entail, and hopefully to build confidence in the products and the ability for you to kind of know how to position these products in clinical practice.
I agree. I mean, Ben has a super portal for ongoing education and for everybody to, everything we learn is only captured about 10% on the first time we hear that information. So for our audience viewers, you can log into Ben's portal to have more advanced learning from Marc's presentation today. I had a question about some of the studies that Ben has performed, but you guys have those all on the website. So if you're more interested in the nitty-gritty of Ben's research, go to the Ben website and you can read all the data there. Great, Marc, one last question. Have you ever considered using a herb, ashwagandha? I'm not sure if I've heard of that herb.
Yes, so ashwagandha is one of the staples of a herbal tradition we call Ayurveda. And so it is actually an active ingredient in the product called Resilience. So I'm a big believer in ashwagandha. In fact, in the whole new Ultimate Guide to Skin Health and Longevity ebook that we just published, where we cover all the science of skin health and longevity, including what are the top foods that you should eat and what are the top supplements that you should be taking. Everything was very, very extensively researched, before we actually pulled this 100-page ebook together. So I really encourage everyone, if you want to learn about ashwagandha and what are the other herbs and foods that are going to have an positive impact on skin health and longevity, please go and download the ebook. But it's a really good question. Ashwagandha is truly one of those super herbs, and it's going to be primarily featured in one of the new products being launched in 2022.
Amazing. Marc, I know you're probably pressed for time today, and we have a lot of questions still coming in, which we can always share with our clinic partners and audience after. So do you have time for one more question?
Absolutely, yeah. Okay.
Is there anything you might add speaking to the new science of Renewal Protect and its influence on our telomeres?
Sure, yeah. I mean, we didn't have a lot of time to go through all the research today, but one of the studies that was completed, it hasn't been published yet, so we're kind of giving you a little bit of a sneak peek here, is really around measures of longevity. And so longevity can be studied quite effectively in kind of in vitro models, and what we're measuring is a feature of our genetic material. If you remember from biology classes, what we call chromosomes, at the end of those chromosomes are little kind of end caps that for some reason, every time the cell divides, the end cap gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And it kind of serves the purpose of kind of like the plastic tips on our shoelaces, right? Without those, everything kind of comes, unravels and gets frayed. Same thing with our genetic material. And what we don't want to see is those end caps getting too short, because what happens is the cell stops dividing and it's going into its kind of death phase, right? So the longer your telomeres, the longer, the more times that cell can divide. So can you actually influence telomere, what we call telomere attrition, the rate of shortening of those telomeres? And so that's been a question kind of that's been thrown around in this kind of field of longevity research. And so there have really been minimal discoveries in terms of products or ingredients that can have a positive influence. But we studied Renewal Protect, once again, in these kind of collagen producing cells, the fibroblasts. And we saw in this study is that it had a dramatic effect in terms of slowing down the shortening of those telomeres. Once again, that is the exact effect that we want. We want our skin to, to have the ability to, we want as many skin cells that still have the ability to divide for as long as possible, right? Because if we start to get too many cells in our skin that get to that critical stage where it says the cell says we cannot divide anymore because our telomeres are too short, it's not safe for us to divide, and they go into this death phase. That's when we see the acceleration of skin aging, right? And so we're able to show that we can slow down that process.
I love telomeres. I talk about a lot when I do my skin training and education, because again, prolonging the life cycle of the cell and stimulating that telomerase enzyme is a hot topic for me. All right, one last question. Which format of Renew and Protect do you prefer personally? The gels or the liquid?
Well, I haven't been traveling a lot, but typically I had been taking the capsules because I was on the road so much, and you can't travel with the liquid. Yeah. Typically, I like to supplement with liquids. I just feel it's, I think the second that those ingredients, come into your mouth, that your body's kind of responding to it, right? You're activating through all the nerve sensors in our bodies. It's okay, wow, this is something that's really good for us, and it kicks the body into gear. Ultimately, is there a difference in efficacy between the two? I'll say no. There's no evidence to suggest that one would be better. But of course, with the liquid, you get more value. You get 10 extra servings. It does have to go in the fridge after you open it. Therefore, it's not really conducive to traveling whatsoever. So I tend to prefer the capsules.
I do love the liquid too. I'm with you on that. And it's almost that brain to skin or brain to mouth connection. Well, Marc, I want to thank you for your time today. We could keep you here probably all day with questions from our audience, but we really appreciate you joining us today, and we look forward to all the launches that are coming in 2022. And we wish Ben and you a great festive season, and we hope to have you on again in the new year.
Thanks so much, Heather. We're happy to dig into all the other questions, so please send them to Heather. She'll get them to us, and we'll make sure that they're all responded to.
Yeah, we'll do a follow-up webinar for everybody to answer all these great questions, because there's probably so much more that's going to come in throughout our conference today.
All right, good luck, everyone.
All right, everybody, I'm just going to take this earpiece out. So if you want to know more about Bend Beauty, you can contact us at SkinHealth Canada. You can speak to one of your area sales managers. If you're not already a Bend account, you don't carry Bend, you need to. It all starts from within. If you want to optimize your skin health, you really have to get that whole homeostasis of the body optimized. All right, we're going to take a break in just a minute, but before we do that, I want to do a Bend giveaway. We are going to give a prize to the first person who answers this skill testing question, and we're going to be giving away one of every flavor of the marine collagen and cofactors. So one unflavored, one strawberry, and one coconut. And we're also going to give away one liquid formula of the Renew and Protect, and 1 jar of the soft gel. So you're going to get the assortment of all of the current Ben Beauty products. So I'm just going to open up our question today, and the first person to answer in the Zoom chat correctly will win our prize. So one moment. All right, here's the magic question. After 8 weeks of using Renew and Protect, clinical trial participants became blank percentage more resistant to UV-induced burning. What was that percentage? And Yanni's going to keep an eye on my chat for me. The first person to answer will have this assortment of Ben shipped to them before the holidays. And I'm just going to sneak over and see if we have the correct answer. Yeah, sugar and spice, Emily Cross. Emily Cross, Emily Cross, if you are here today, you are correct. The answer is 84%. So Emily Cross, if you can send us your follow-up information in the chat, please send us your email address, your phone number, your address, and we will contact you in the next 24 to 48 hours to arrange shipment of your prize. Again, we have a wide variety of people in our audience today. We have clinic partners, we have people who are maybe new to SkinHealth Canada. For those who are interested in carrying Ben, please speak to your area sales manager today. And for those clinic partners who are not carrying Ben, we have a great promo for you. You can try 2 cases of our soft gels, Renew and Protect, and 2 cases of our marine collagen, and you will get a Try Me kit with that, so you can try all of the Ben assortment. You have 30 days to test it out, see what flavors you like, and if for some reason you're not satisfied with the product, you can ship back any unopened case and we will give you your money back. But I think true testimony comes from Marc St Onge, the founder of Ben Beauty. It works. It's great for every skin condition, whether it be dermatitis, rosacea, even acne. We want to reduce the inflammation within us. We want to add a layer of photoprotection to our skin. And the end result, of course, is optimizing our skin health. Well, I hope you enjoyed this first segment. Remember, you got to be here to be enrolled for our grand prize giveaway, which we're going to talk about after our next segment. But it's time for a quick coffee, water, and bathroom break. So we'll be back in about 7 minutes. We're going to reset our stage and get into Environ. So we'll see you soon.